Going live. And it says I am live. Do I have anybody with me? I'm going to wait a few minutes to see. If I do. All right, I see two people in queue, at least according to this little number box here. I'll give it a few minutes. Jill, I'm here. I see you. Thank you. James M., hello. Thanks, guys. I don't know if you guys were along an hour ago when I tried to start this thing and was having major technical difficulties, and which seems to always be the case when I try and do this. Hey, Michael Armstrong. Thanks for coming tonight. It's like we got 9 folks. Hey, if you guys, I know it's just 9 of you right now, hit the thumbs up. That helps. That just helps this thing keep moving through the YouTube algorithms and all that good stuff. So if you guys would just go ahead and hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it. Comments are welcome. In fact, encouraged. Talk about a few things. It's interesting that I had such an issue with the technical aspects of this, because this is going to be in part what I want to talk about. So I'm going to let a few more people get in here, and I think I'm going to turn on this little space heater I've got. You guys don't care. All right. Good evening, Richard, Scooter. Good to see you guys. My good buddy Zombie Farmer talked me through what I was missing here. It was something simple and quite frankly stupid on my part to miss out on this, but anyway, thanks so much for your patience. 8 folks in here, 6 thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Let's see. Liberty or death, something we proudly hail. Once you provoke her, rattling of her tail. Zombie Farmer. Daniel, God is my judge. Hello, hello. Who knows what song I just quoted there? Anybody? Just out of curiosity. And if you don't know, that's okay. I've always been a heavy metal music fan. It's from Metallica. Don't tread on me. Don't tread on me. See if we can get that centered up like that. There you go. And yes, thumbs up, folks. So listen, again, we've been on about 3.5 minutes. I'm going to let another 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes or so go by before I get really into this. This is going to be relatively brief. I say brief, an hour probably, tops. But I did a video recently. It was, I don't know, the last one or the one before, I can't remember. And it was a call to action, organization, communication, and information. And that video, if you guys watched it, then you know what it was about. You know what I talked about and what the topic was and why it's important. Liberty or death, something we proudly hail. Once you provoke her, rattling of her tail. Don't tread on me. Metallica. So, Daniel. Not Margaritaville, although I've rocked to that song a time or two. But anyway, that video that I did, a call to action, organization, information, communication, whatever the order was. Live free or die, that's right. And let's see, we got one held for review show. There you go. There you go. So anyway, it was about ways to communicate when we don't have ways to communicate, essentially. How to like in an after the SHTF situation, or and I guess SHTF, as we know, can be defined by many different ways. It doesn't necessarily mean lights out, no trucks running, no nothing, all that. It could mean lots of things, It could be, hey, Bohica, good to see you. It can mean lots of things, and there's lots of ways that we, the citizens here in the U.S., could be, and frankly around the world, for those of you that may be popping in or later looking at this video from around the world, can be stifled and held down and kept from being able to commerce with one another and communicate with one another and travel and all these things. And so how do we know friend from foe? How do we know where or where not to go? What is safe, what is not? How when it is time to take some type of action or not, whatever that may be, all of these things. And so that video, I posed the question to you guys. What were your thoughts on it? What did you think? Did you have any ideas? Was there anything outstanding to you guys about what that might look like and how we might go about doing such things after an SHTF? And again, defining SHTF as a very broad spectrum of things. One way that I tend to be leaning more towards in my own interpretation or thoughts about SHTF is going to be that it may not be a complete shutdown type of situation. It may indeed more be like, and I hate to use pop culture references, but quite frankly, what is it? Art imitates life, right? Or life imitates art, or both ways. I don't know. But think about what were they? Those movies, the Hunger Games, right? For example, they had a society set up. They had people living, working. Of course, they were all providing to the cause of the capital in that scenario. So where it very well could be a complete shutdown where we're all on our own, right? And it could be, hey, David G, good to see you from Washington State. But anyway, it could be that, or it could be what I tend to think is a more likely scenario, which is where things will still be moving for some, and for many of us, we'll be cogs in that wheel if we're in that wheel at all. So we may be on our own, but there will be a system still running. I don't see the elite, those who control, shutting things down in such a way that would also affect themselves. And I don't see them doing it also in a way where even if they still had all of those creature comforts and everything, and the rest of the population did not, I still don't see it in a way where they wouldn't utilize you and me to facilitate their well-being. Let me look at something here. We are cash cows now, Daniel. Yes. Michael Armstrong. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And I think it can be more so that we would be cash cows, that we will be we will be the cattle. We will be, will definitely be the workforce, potentially anyway. And that's, I think it's going to be more like that. Michael Armstrong, on my last video, HR 1111, he left 3 different comments and never heard back. I need to know what I left is real as a heart attack. You need to be awake to it. Allow me to go back and look at that because off the top of my head, brother, I cannot. I had a pen out here. I cannot. I can't say what that is. I don't remember what that is, and I apologize because I usually get back to everybody. I'll look at that. I will. Atlas Shrug, ring any bells, Ken? I can't say that it does actually, but all right. So anyway, I'll look into that, Michael. I will. And Ken, I'm gonna look into. You guys, give me a second to grab a pen, okay? And answer one of my subs who just actually texted me looking for this live stream, which failed the first time. Had to restart. Let me grab a pen. There's one right here. I'll be right back. Hang tight, guys. Okay, back. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm going to make a couple of notes here. So anyway, the video that I did that I was talking about was about ways to communicate and how we would do that after the fact, and do it in such a way that we protect our privacy and anonymity and our, what do you want to call it? Our OPSEC, okay? Because, you know, there's going to come a time the powers that be already don't want us communicating and collaborating. And we know this. So I had posed the question to you guys. Hey, Kent Patton family, common sense. David G. Zombie the Hobo Method. Yes, that is a good one too. Another subscriber had sent me a full list of all the, you know, hieroglyphic looking things that is. That's a lot of information there, and I guess the trick is, hello Tennessee, hello Jack, Brian, Zombie's in the comments. He didn't want me. I asked him to get on. He said he just got home from work. He said, I got to get settled in before I'm ready for all that. So anyway, so he was invited on, but he's not here, Zombie Farmer. So hey, he's here in the comments. He's just not here on the screen. So anyway, a lot of you guys had responded. I asked you guys to respond, and I'd asked you guys to do it if you had any really meaty ideas to put them in paper, in mail, all right, which many of you have. And some of you added comments in the comment section. Some sent emails to my email address, which is in the About section and all that. The reason I'd ask for it in mail if it was meaty, and I use that term because if it's something, you know, think about this platform and emails and anything that's electronic, you know, is whether or not they're looking at it, they can, you know, those that have the power to look into it. So I'd asked for it in paper because hopefully that's still protected enough to where, you know, right now we can share that kind of information and it's private between the parties who sent the information and who the intended recipient is. In this case, myself, for what I asked for. So I have been looking over some of these things that you guys have shared with me, and I have had some ideas of my own, and I want to share some of these ideas. I think what's going to happen, much like in Stephen C. Smith's book series, the Stonemont series. If you guys hadn't read it, I highly recommend it. Did a book review on that. These guys, this is a fictional story, but it's about a kind of an after a crash thing where communications are down. And these guys have to kind of figure out and go around making contact with other folks and this kind of thing. all that kind of good stuff. Hey, JC Glock 40, good to see you, buddy. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. Sorry for all the trouble in the first couple of attempts on this live stream. But anyway, so what I want to do is share some ideas, but I want to tell you how I want to share them, because we're not going to share them right here, some of these specific ones. In this book series that Stephen C. Smith wrote, the Stone Knot series, again, these guys, fictional, but these guys they came together, and then they met up with other groups along the way, and they branched out trying to get to know who was there and who was out and about and who was still kicking and who was alive and who wasn't, and who was good and who was bad, who was being, having success, living off the grid, and all these kinds of things. And communication skills and how they develop these things. And a lot of the general gist of a lot of the written commentary that I've gotten, and even some that was on comments and emails, has been going back to old ways, such as, let me read just a little bit from this one letter. Post riders. Remember on the movie The Patriot, the post riders, right? These guys who rode and shared information, I think Paul Revere, telegraph, carrier pigeons, smoke signals, even. We talked about flashing lights in the video that I did, and think for closer things. Ham radio, we talked about in the event, or in the assuming that repeaters are not down and that system is still up and running. And you've got to also assume that it's not that it's a system. If it is a system such as that, or any other type of radio style communication or electronic style communication, that it's not able to be compromised or bugged or listened to, or because there's a lot of sensitive information that will potentially be being passed back and forth. Janet Hill says Sheriff and Culpeper will deputize thousands of people. That's okay, and people are people. So we've got to have a system of knowing who the good people are and who are not. I do not believe there is a 100% system that is bad guy proof, for lack of a better term. Yes, Wolf Stonehenge. That's something I talked about in that video, if you saw it, and of course that's for close contact type stuff, and you've got to be aware of situational awareness concepts in that time as well. Because any of these types of communications, if the wrong people see it or know what it is and can manipulate it, then you've got the potential for danger. Hey, John, no problem. You're late. I'm glad you already got the wrench on. Sorry for the trouble earlier, too, by the way, on the earlier attempts at the live stream. But glad you're here. Good to see you. I'm going to deputize Zombie here, too. All right, Zombie has been deputized. So anyway, I want to share. All right, so let me back up just a little bit. So some of the thoughts that I've had about this they've been very simple and very localized. I think we're going to have to figure out how to do long distance type communications, bigger bits of information, community to community, across bigger areas. You guys, if y'all are looking at these comments, these boys are funny. That's going to have to materialize as we go. I think that's going to have to, that's going to be regionally specific, area specific, things like that. Hold on, I got one held for review here. Oh, okay, you guys are on it. Clickers from NAM. Wolf, you're going to have to tell me what that is. I'm not sure. Hey, all smiles. Good to see you. So what I want to talk about is what are some general things that we can do. So just simply knowing who is friend and who is foe, where an area or situation is safe or not safe. Let's say, for example, we are past this point, okay? And you don't know who's who, and everybody's on guard, and you're having to pay super close attention to this type of thing, you know, and use, you know, discernment, judgment, you know, to figure out who's who and what's what. So I've got some basic ideas for some signals and things. I'm not going to share them right here on this live stream because that would sort of defeat the purpose. What I would like to pose is first of all, I'm going to throw it out there again. If you guys have any ideas specific to, you know, I would like to know those ideas. I would like for you to share them writing me to my P.O. box, okay? Writing to my P.O. box so that it is safe, so that it is not on any electronic device or anywhere else, so that it is just your eyes and words written, put in an envelope, and sent to me where my eyes can see them. But what I'd also like to do, if you'd like to know what I've come up with and thought of, and these are a couple of very simple things that I think would be very effective, and I've thought about this for a while now, but intensely for a week. And I think I've got a couple of basic, simple things that would work, that would be sort of universal, such as an SOS signal is universal. Everybody knows what an SOS signal is. Bald guys with beards scare me. I got a little bit of hair, Daniel. Hey, Steven. Hey, Spazbull. Spazbull says have a close-knit crew. That's true, but at some point we're going to have to reach out. Whether or not we want to, we're going to be encountered by other people, guys. So this is what I'm talking about. And just like let's see, Camp Patton talks about frequency hopping radios. That you know, and I get that. There's a lot of great ideas with technology, even old school technology, because that's going to be probably more prevalent in this post situation like we're talking about. But I'm talking about physical signals where you can signal something to someone in person, you know, or across a distance, but where you can be seen so people know one thing or another without words. So what I'm going to suggest to you guys, if you are interested in what my ideas are in it, I would ask that you send me a mailing address, a physical mailing address, P.O. box, or if you want me to, you know, if you're comfortable with your own address or whatever, send it to me. I don't care if you send it to me electronically or put it in the comments, or if you mail it to me, that's fine, because the information that I send back is going to be via snail mail. All right. And these are things that I would hope you guys would adopt, and not only adopt, but then share with your group, share with your friends and family, share with everybody. John, I see that, white flags. And this is what I'm talking about. I want to get on the same page with as many people. That's why I think if we put these ideas on paper and commit them to our memories, and then we share them with those that we're comfortable sharing them with, and that still doesn't mean that we won't have a compromised message, because it's bound to happen, but less likely than if we share it on social media and on YouTube. Hey, Sam, good to see you, buddy. Been a minute. But you know, that's where my thought process is on this. So I'm asking, if you guys are interested, send me a physical address so I can send you something on paper. Some ideas, some things, and I think these are pretty solid ideas. Some of them may have been mentioned, but let's get into a little more specifics about them. And I would love to share my thoughts on them. And again, if you guys have thoughts on these things, I would love to hear what they are. And if they're real meaty thoughts, and I use that term just for lack of a better term, but if they're real something that can be put into place and exercised, I would like for it to be done in such a way where it's not shared on electronic media, social media and stuff. So at this point, that's hey, Lisa Bicknell, you're new here. Glad to see you. I don't know if you just got here, but what we're talking about, a quick recap, is communication after SHTF. 16 for our friends. What we're talking about is ways to communicate after an SHTF, to know friend from foe, to know a safe haven from one that's not, to know who would be hopefully trustworthy and who is not, who knows the code and who does not. Does not mean that everybody that does not know potential codes that we might put in place is a bad guy. It just means that we know that if somebody does know what they are, that they're likely a good guy, if you will. So so that's what we're talking about. I'm going to check a comment here, and then I'm going to look at some of these comments and just start addressing some of you guys' comments. If you have any questions about where we were, where we left off, if you missed anything, feel free to ask. I'm going to try and catch every comment. Anybody else who is in the comment section who has caught what we're saying, if I miss it, please share that information. JC Glock 40 wanted me to share. Wow, somebody help me out here, guys. Oh, Henry, yeah. Let's go on and just block this guy. Oh, good Lord. Somebody please get this person. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Let's keep the, and I appreciate that. Who was that? Just said get lost Fowler, but in a different way. I want to keep this as clean as possible, but I appreciate the sentiment. Let's get them gone. Thanks, guys. All right, so JC Glock 40 wanted me to share while we were on here what's happening in Virginia, if you guys don't already know. This is going to be SB 16, assault firearms and certain firearms magazine prohibiting sale, transport, etc. penalties. You guys know about what's going on. I would assume you at least know that there's been a lot of there's a lot of anti-gun laws going on in places where we wouldn't have expected them. Sam, this is what you're talking about. It's okay. We know not everyone's on board. Let's see. All right. So anyway, this Virginia law expands the definition of assault firearms, prohibits any persons from importing, selling, transferring, manufacturing, purchasing, possessing, transporting an assault firearm. It's a Class 6 felony. The bill prohibits a dealer from selling, renting, trading, or transferring his inventory on an assault firearm to any person. It prohibits a person from carrying a shotgun with a magazine that will hold more than 7 rounds of the longest ammunition of which it is chambered in a public place under existing law. It's just more of the same garbage that's going on everywhere. These are the reasons why we're having these conversations. Can't carry a knife in Australia, let alone a gun. Spazbull, I'm assuming that's where you are. You from Australia? But yeah, it's insane. This is why we're having these conversations, guys. This is why we do. Me and the guys like me do the channels that we do the content that we do, because we want to keep all of us informed. I like to be informed. I want you guys to be informed. We got to know what's going on, because it's going to come to a head. It's going to come to a boiling point. There is no way around it. The enemy is here. The enemy is running things. Yes, Spazbull says from Australia. Thanks for being here very much. And I wish you guys could have guns and knives. It's ridiculous that you cannot legally have that stuff. It's ridiculous. And let Spazbull here be let his country be an example for us. What will happen, you know? Steve Miller, abracadabra. High Impacts. High Impacts Flicks. If that's the same fella I think it is, I like your videos too. Hey, Corsair, good to see you too. Rusty. Sorry, buddy. Hey, I'm Rusty. I was just talking about some letters and correspondence that I've received. And And we're talking about plans to put things together. So I'm going to recap it again, just so you guys know. I want you guys to, if you've got any good media ideas, ones that you do not want to share on public media, social media, think of it this way. You know, if you were going to commit a crime, just using this as an example, if you're going to commit a crime, you wouldn't post on Facebook to your friends and say, hey guys, come on and join me in committing this crime. Here's how we're going to do it. Okay, so in the same vein, if we're going to come up with ways to better ourselves and to be able to communicate and to be able to be effective as communities, as preppers, effective to one another in this brave new world we're about to be in. Hey, Modern Refugee, good to see you, bud. Then we've got to come up with ways to do that and to share said information without it being public on social media, electronically, emails, etc. So this is why I'm soliciting to you again. I'm going to tell you guys again, what I'd like for you to do is send any ideas to me via snail mail. And if you want to know the ideas that I have, which I have some very simple but very direct things that we can share with one another, that we can share with our friends and our group locally and unto ourselves, and have them share with those that they know and trust, obviously, so that everybody has a same page sort of mentality, so that when they see these things, when we see these things employed, hello from Ireland, John. So when they see these things employed, they know, friend or foe, safe or not, you know, and other things. And so I'm asking if you want to know what my thoughts are on them, because I will not be sharing them electronically through email or in the comments, or I will not be talking about them on this platform, but I will be happy to send them to you via mail, snail mail. This applies, and thank you for my brothers and sisters who are from other countries here, but this applies, quite frankly, for those of us in the United States. I'm not saying it can't be something you guys can use and employ. I would be glad to share it with you, but well, and frankly, let me just rephrase that, because it could help you guys too, but you would have to do the same and share it with your group, and your group share it with their trusted people, and so on and so forth. So, so if you're interested in what my thoughts are on it, send me an address, a mailing address. I don't care if it's a P.O. box or if it's whatever it is, whatever you're comfortable with. Send me a physical address, and I will send written materials to you about what this is. I think it's very, very, very important, and this may be a way we can start to spread ways, again, among our communities and our groups and our family and our trusted ones that are close to us. So that, think about it, if you can touch 10 people and those 10 people can touch 10 people, it's like a pyramid sales thing, right? And these are trusted people now. Hopefully, that doesn't mean we won't be, catch somebody who's on the wrong side of this thing. But if we can, branch out, and I can touch 10 people, and each of those 10 people can touch 5, 8, 10 people, and each of those 5, 8, 10 people can touch 3, 4, 5 people, whatever it is, eventually, and we're all doing it, and we're all on the same page with what these methods are. Then when we come in contact inevitably with other people across the board as things go on, we can employ these things and know what we're talking about. Okay. So again, it's, kind of like the old chain letter thing, but with, and I don't want to say too much about it, but kind of like with the chain letter thing, but it's for the purpose of it not being electronically stored and being able to be compromised that way. Thank you, All Smiles. Yeah. So a positive channel, what do you need to do to help? First of all, any ideas that you have about how we can communicate friend from foe, safe from unsafe, go, stop, pass, whatever. Hobo signals, is one thing that we talked about. But hobo signals, if we talk about hobo signals and we use hobo signals, which is not a bad idea, but we are not the only ones that know hobo signals, right? But if we, those who are trying to survive, we, those who value liberty, those who value freedom, those who value the opposite of what we believe, many of us, our big elite, rulers want for us, then we have to come up with something different because they can employ those because they know those methods. So, looking at this stuff, you guys, silly. So at any rate, that's what I'm talking about doing, and that's why I say do it in snail mail. If you guys want to send me an address, and I don't mind if you send the address in the comments or electronically through email or whatever, because that's just an address. The information I return back to you will be on paper. And if you have really good ideas that you don't want electronically stored as well, that you'd like to share as well, send it the same way. Hello, Detroit Prepping. Good to see you. So that's what we're talking about. Whisper Farm Woodworking. Good to see you. So I've got that out. I've repeated it about 3 times. You guys get the gist. So now we can just talk about whatever else we want to talk about. The gun laws are nutty. What's going on? I mean, all of these things, this whole impeachment garbage and fiasco, whatever you think of Donald Trump, this is a ridiculous notion. I forget the Republican that it was, but he got up in those hearings the other day and he said, look, I'm not a supporter of Donald Trump. He said, but you guys are going about this wrong. This is not right. These are all, to me, indicators to what we've been talking about. If you guys don't know by now from me that this is Big Easy. Okay. I'm glad you said that, Whisper Farm, because I didn't recognize your name, but you had a wrench, so I'm guessing I met you somewhere through here. But all of these things, Brave New World, Janet, that's right. All of these things ought to be red lights going off, alarms going off. Okay. This is going to come to a crux sooner rather than later. And so we need to get these systems in place now so that we know what in the world we're doing and what we're dealing with after the fact, so that we know friend from foe, so that we know good from bad. Again, it doesn't mean that some of this won't potentially be compromised, because I guarantee it can be. But we have a much better chance the better we can keep it confined to those that we individually trust, right? If I trust these 10 or 12, 15, whatever it is, people, and I trust their judgment about who they're going to share it with, and the same with you guys, and we have this sort of universal SOS system, if you will, for lack of a better term. That's a universal type system that everybody understands. Then we can all be better for it, I think, after the fact, because that's going to be a big deal. As much as many people like to talk about being on their own and lone wolfing it and all this kind of stuff, that's not realistic in my opinion. For a little while, perhaps, but at some point you're inevitably going to encounter other people, whether or not you want to, and you're not just going to off them. I don't think. I mean, good people are not going to do that. Detroit Prepping, thank you, brother. Thank you for that. Very, very, very kind. If you've got a question with that, re-ask it, and I'll be glad to go. So, Howies Kitchen, you won't last. What do you mean? What do you mean exactly? I mean, who? Me, or just people in general, or us, or? I mean, I'm curious what you mean. You may be right. I don't have a clue how it's going to work. I don't have a clue. I may be gone in the first week of said whatever, when the ball drops, that's not my plan. I'm making plans to be around for quite a while longer and to be able to take care of me and mine. If you aren't prepared, well, obviously. And that's what we're talking about doing, Howie, is being prepared. Is to come up with ways so that we can, it's one thing to prepare for yourself and to stack, I hear you, true story, to stack your supplies and all this kind of stuff, and come up with all these plans and have security and have zones and have have it all worked out for your own area. But at some point, inevitably, we're going to encounter other people, good or bad or indifferent, and we're going to have to deal with that. Let me read some of these comments. Scooter 13, thank you. By the way, I'll let you guys know I am in the Southeast. Some of you guys know where I am specifically. Well, look, I'm near here. Okay, I'm near here. So any of you people that are near there, near here, and want to get on this same page, I would love for you to be on the same page, because if we're ever out trying to reach out further for supplies, for resources, for friends, for whatever, we need to know who's who as best as we can. Scooter, let's see. Positive Channel, Mississippi. Louisiana, Florida, Kentucky, Dayton. And thank you, Sam, everybody, Naples, Florida. First of all, for you guys being here, thanks so much for being here on the live stream. I appreciate it. Hey, hit the thumbs up if you guys hadn't already. I see a bunch of you have, but if you have not, hit that thumbs up. It really makes this video go. We want this to be shared. We want this information to be out there for people to see. Amy J. And yes, Scooter 13, it is all on my About page. My P.O. Box address is on my About page. My email address is on my About page. And again, like I say, any media information that you don't want, shared electronically, don't share it electronically. Send it this way. If it's just an address for me to send something to you, I feel like that's safe enough. If you put an address in my email inbox, or even in the comments or something, I will send you something. So we'll go from here. And try, the thing is, we want to try and get a cohesive system that is not unlike the hobo symbols, but it would be different in that it would be one that we know about, and those that we trust know about. And again, it doesn't mean it wouldn't be compromised. It just means it would be something different, something that is not already in place that can be compromised, and likely will, Amy J, you still need adopted. You were the one that said you wanted my wife and I to adopt you. So I think, well, we're considering it. Okay. So that's funny. And thanks for everybody that's saying you're gonna send stuff. That's it. To me, this stuff is more important. It's one of the more important things we can be doing right now. Obviously, prepping. If you're not already stacking up, supplies. If you got to have a source of water, ongoing source of water, or a bunch of it stored. Ways to purify, things like that. Obviously, first aid, food. Anything sustainable. If you guys know, Amy J is serious. She'll do her part. I hear you. Hey, write me something. Okay. You got the address. Write me something. I am all about coming up with mutual assistance groups if it is feasible and possible, and if it makes sense. Okay. So, we moved recently, I guess it's been 6 months or so now, to a rural homestead that we are putting together. And, the idea is eventually we're going to have animals, gardens. The whole idea is spring is when we're going to really get this thing going. We will not be in full effect in spring. In fact, if plans went just as perfect as we would like for them to go, we will not be fully functional with a full return for at least 3 years. I don't know if we have that kind of time, but it's the best we can do, you know. And so we're doing our best. And meanwhile, we do have things stacked. We do have things put up. And yes, Stephen Miller, absolutely, 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 Stephen Miller got it put up. You know, got lots and lots of varying supplies put away and ways to secure and prepare. Absolutely, Whisper Farm. Absolutely. And so, and thank you, Positive Channel. We love it. It is a beautiful place, and we love it. Let's see. All Smile says, you got your chickens last spring, not one egg. You know, I'm just learning about this stuff myself. I know there's laying mash and different things you can do to get that going. Hey, T Led Zepp girl, good to see you. It's gonna, you know, I don't know what to tell you there. We're going to. We had success at our old place with a neighbor that we worked with chickens, and the more. You know, they have a shelf life as far as laying eggs. And Big Papa, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see you. If you just joined, Big Papa, and I'm sorry I'm jumping around, but if you just joined, Big Papa, we are talking about coming up with ways, like I talked about in that video a few days ago about communication and how to know good guys from bad guys and good situations from bad situations and safe and not safe and all these kind of things. And we're talking about doing it via snail mail. If you guys will share an address with me, a physical address with me that I can send something in the mail that will not be on social media or a social platform or electronically so that it can be compromised. We want to come up with our own systems of signals and I don't want to say a whole lot more than that. I've got some ideas I'd love to share. So Zombie's back. Good to see you. Stephen Miller, I guess talking to All Smile says maybe you bought roosters. Anyway, we had some success at the old place with a neighbor working with chickens. And I know there's a shelf life and they have to be so old before they really start producing eggs. And then they only produce for so many years typically. Before that starts falling off. Now, in this case, these chickens actually produced longer than was anticipated, but it took them a minute. You know, it took them a while to get started too. And I want to say almost 2 years before his last batch of chicks started really producing eggs that you could count on. And this was, I want to say about 8 chickens maybe. And it was enough to sustain 6 people, you know, as far as a daily egg intake, if you will. I guess, you know, that could be subjective because, you know, some people might eat 10 eggs a day where, you know, I'm more of a 2 egg a day guy. And little RWP sometimes is a 6 egg a day kid. So, so anyway, but we're working on these things and I want you guys to be doing the same. I know you guys, you know, most of you guys here, if not all of you, are on the same page. Daniel Foster, ham radio. Yeah, we talked about that too, but we're talking about ways to do this that are non-electronic and non-systematic and, you know, alternative ways so that when you're posted up somewhere and you're looking through binoculars and you're getting ready to go through somewhere, and if you can send down a signal, one that can be seen and returned, so you'll know things to either double back and get the hell out of there or ease on in, flanking from the sides, whatever the case may be, as safely as possible, because we are going to encounter other people, whether or not we want to, whether or not we plan to. We will encounter other people. It is just how it's going to go. There is no way around it. The lone wolf scenario, in my opinion, it's just not going to be something that is feasible, that is going, you know, even if you hunker down and you're in the deepest deep, somebody's going to come across you at some point, you know, and I don't know if your plan is to just blast them, you know, but I don't know if that's the best plan, you know. Now, obviously, if somebody's coming to take what's yours or coming to harm you, without a doubt, you know, I mean, Second Amendment, baby, protect you and yours. You have that right, that God-given right. And, but on the other hand, I think that we're going to be better with one another. We're going to be better helping one another. We're going to be better building communities. And that doesn't mean communing together where we all got to work for the same cause and, for the manhunt, or whatever. It doesn't necessarily mean that, but it does mean you're going to have interactions with other people. And you're going to have, there's going to be all kinds of reasons you're going to want that and need that. Thank you, Big Papa. And I knew you would agree. You are from an area, Big Papa, that I am familiar with. And so I know the kind of people that are in that area. I too am from an area very similar to yours. And I know the kind of people that we are. And that is how the people around here operate. All smiles. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Really. I mean it. Hey, Gadget Cat. Good to see you too. Let's see here. That's right. Pickle those eggs. You know what? A buddy of mine at work says he's going to bring me some pickled quail eggs. You guys ever had pickled? I've never had it. He swears by it. He says they're the most fantastic thing he's ever had. But anyway, so that's what we're talking about. Howies Kitchen. Yum. Have you had them? Howies Kitchen? Or I'm curious because I like pickled things. Delish and bite sized. Positive Channel says. Amy J's making a funny face. They sound odd to me, but okay. Are they really good? Howies Kitchen. I mean, I'm guessing you wouldn't have said they were if you didn't think so, but I will definitely try them. He says he's going to bring me a jar of them on Monday. So tasty as heck. All right. Well, cool. I'm looking forward to it. I've had quail eggs. Again, back at the old place we lived at in the neighborhood, the friend of ours and neighbor that raised chickens, he also for a while there, a couple of years back, raised quails. And so we had plenty of quail eggs at that time too. And those were good. I mean, we would just cook them up like you would a chicken egg, fry them or scramble them or whatever. Of course, it took a bunch of them, that's just a step. Mountain oysters, John Hoochen. No thanks. You can have that. Only if I'm starving to death, buddy. So that's what we're talking about here is just, it's always about preparedness and it's always about keeping yourself spiritually prepared, physically prepared, physically here with your body and with the physical preps that you would, have put away, your tools of all kinds, your food, your water, your medical, etc. And then also what we're talking about, what this video is about communication, organization, and information. And how do we share these things? And we keep them off of these social platforms. Hey, Chris, good to see you. Thank you, Chris, Ken Matsu, for being here. Late to the party, I would assume, but very nice to see you. Thank you for all you do. Thank you guys, all you guys for all you do. But what we're doing is we're talking about these things and how we can employ them so that we can maybe be on the same page when we inevitably encounter one another out there in the world, out there, in the aftermath of whatever kinds of junk is going to come our way. Chris Kamatsu, thank you, brother. Thank you. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, and I can't thank you enough. I have got the best subscribers that are out there, in my opinion. I know Zombie Farmer has claimed that before. He's got great subscribers too. I know many of you guys cross over, both of us, but you guys are fantastic, and I just can't tell you how much this means. I've shared this before, and I'll share it again. I do this stuff not for any accolades or not for these generous donations and things like that. I appreciate them tremendously, and you don't know how helpful they are. They absolutely are. But I do it because I care about you guys. I care about what's going to happen to us as people, as this train keeps rolling off of the tracks, and so So that's where we are. All right, so we got somebody on here that I don't think I want on here. Tired of looking at it. Tired of looking at it. Boom. Boom. Bye-bye. So anyway, I guess that's all I got, guys. I wanted to keep this kind of short, and so we've gone just about an hour. And if there's anything I want to say, let's do this last 5 minutes or so. Throw any questions out there if you want to. Anything that maybe hasn't been talked about yet, or any questions you guys might have about anything. And keep in mind, let me reiterate while you're thinking about that. Big Wolf 45, God bless you too. While you're thinking about that, if you've got any other questions or comments or anything you want to add here in the last five minutes or so, keep in mind, any good ideas, send them here. If you want to hear my ideas, and I have some very specific ones that I am planning on sharing again, By the way, Howie's Kitchen, this is in my About section too. My P.O. box, my email address is in my About section. And so you can go there and do that. What I want to do is share information. I want to share my ideas with you guys. But the ones I have, the ones that are specific regarding this communication, information, and organization after the fact sort of things, I do not want to see you, Bohica. I do not want to share them. I will not share them electronically across this platform or via email or anything that can be monitored that way. I think this is still a safe bet, the USPS. So if you want to share your physical address with me, see you, Big Papa, do that and share it. I don't mind if, it's up to you how you share your physical address, either in the comments or in an email, or send me an email, because it's just an address. There's no real information there. What I will do in return with your address, if you share it with me, I will send you my ideas that I'm hoping you will employ with your group and your friends and your mutual assistance groups, et cetera, and have them employ with those to them. And we create a network of people who are on the same page about some of these things. Thank you so much, Gadget Cat. Thank you, Sam, JC Glock 40. Everybody, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. We got 2 minutes. I'm going to, if you guys don't care, I am going to close this with prayer. So if you guys don't mind. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for this group of people that you bring together tonight, Lord. We thank you for the like-mindedness that you've given us, and in that you've shown us what we need to be looking at, Lord. Not only looking to you for our guidance, for our instruction, for how to live life, Lord, for how to do life, and how to worship you, and how to live out your will, but to pay attention to the things behind the scenes, for giving us eyes to see through the fog, and for allowing us these ways that we can get together and come up with ways to better ourselves, better humans, to be better for humans and to humans, your creations, Lord, that we may serve you now on this side of catastrophe and on the other side of catastrophe, should it come our way, Lord. We ask that you continue to bless our lives, and you continue to bless each and every one on this platform, that you continue to grow us in you, Lord, that you continue to just lead us and show us who you are, and reveal yourself to us, and reveal your plans for our lives for us, Lord. And we just ask these things in Jesus' most holy name. Amen. And I guess that's it, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and let this run and hit 60 minutes. So we got about 30 seconds here. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you being here. I look forward to getting either correspondence and ideas from you. And I also look forward to sending, good to see you too, John, everybody. I look forward to sending, like I say, sending information to you guys via mail, specific information about how we may go about doing this. And on that note, thank you guys for a great show. And I will see you guys next time on the Real World Prepper. Bye-bye.